It's a great question. I'm going to start answering it by telling you a story. A young man went up onto a mountaintop to find a wise man that lived in a cave there. And he went to this wise man. He says, I want to know all your knowledge. I want to learn from you. I want to learn everything from you. And the wise man says, well, come with me. And they go down this little pond. And he takes him out in the water. And he says, you want to know everything? And he says, I want to learn. He grabs the young man and he shoves him under the water. And he holds him there. After a few moments, the young man starts to wiggle a little because he needs to breathe. He holds him there. Soon he begins to thrash and fight and jump and kick, and the old man holds him under there. And he waits until almost all the fight's gone out of him, and then he brings him back up and he says, now, when you want my knowledge as bad as you wanted a breath of air, then you're ready. Now, I'm telling you that story because here's the deal. And you probably know this already. When it comes to us shinglers, for some reason, this trade, roofing, residential shingles at least, it's like the Old West. It's like we're the last breed of gunslingers. You hear the old cowboy stories and Wyatt Earps and Doc Hollidays and crap like that. That's kind of how we are. Everyone's trying to outdo everyone else. Everyone's trying to keep anyone else from getting in on it. So, if you want your shot to be a shingler, there's no time. You decide when it's time. And you fight for your chance. And you take it. This is a dog-eat-dog trade. And I think even all the guys that are in here and we nit back and forth and we pick at each other and, you know, you're doing this wrong and you're doing that right. With the exception of one or two, I think everyone would agree with me that the only way you're ever going to learn to be a shingler is by doing it. And you're going to have to take your chance. You're going to have to make your opportunity. And unfortunately, that might mean that you have to go somewhere else and find someone that will teach you. How bad do you want that knowledge? That will give you an opportunity. Hopefully the person you work for now will give it to you, but you'll have to push. You'll have to be aggressive and push. There's no way around that. And at the end of the day, ignore all of our bullshit on here about when we go back and forth. There's a few basic principles. And if you just master those things, don't worry about the speed. The speed will come with time. Practice perfection. And you'll gain those skills that you need. Like I said, roofing is just graph paper, okay? You need a tape measure, you need a chalk line. Now, those are two things that will divide TikTok into civil war between roofers about. But it's not about keeping your roof straight. You do all your thinking before you've laid one shingle. Everything's laid out. You know where every shingle's going to go before you lay one down. That's all that's for. And that way you take 5-10 minutes to snap outlines on a roof and you're ready to go. You don't have to think about anything again, because if there's going to be a problem, you've seen it in the chalk lines and you can adjust it before you've had to nail one shingle down. I'll put a picture in here to show you what happens when you just guess. But that's a debate. It's a debate between roofers that's high and low. Do you need to snap lines on everything? No, you don't. But anytime you're going to tie in something, you do that. You chalk line your tape measure. Roofing is graph paper. You know exactly where the nails are supposed to go. All you got to do is look on the package. It tells you right where they're supposed to go. You can't blow the nails through. You can't leave them up too high. They need to seat flush. You'll do that. The reality is, when you first start learning, they're going to stick you on dormers and eyebrows and BS like that. And that's okay. That's okay. That's where you cut your teeth. You cut your teeth on the bullshit. It is just what it is. You know, learn those few simple rules. And don't make the one mistake that every roofer makes. And that is assuming that the way they know is the only right way to do something. I've roofed in, I have to count them up, but I bet you close to 20 different states or more. I've been able to travel most of the country with this trade. And everywhere I go, I see something done in a different way. And some of it is shockingly different to me, but it works for where they are. And I would recommend you learn every technique you can, especially for tear off. No two roofs always tear off the same. In fact, in roofing, I would argue that tear off is more of an art than the installation. Time of day, the temperature, how long they've been on, how many layers, what kind of shingles, what condition they're in. What works on one roof is not going to be the fastest for another. Whereas with shingling, it's the same rule every time. And every now and then you have to make some adjustments. You learn how to cut a pipe, you learn how to cut a vent. That's about it. It's not rocket science. Most of us roofers were barely above an ape. We trim our fingernails by opening our hands and letting our fingertips drag on the ground when we walk. But that's what I would say. You'll have to just take your opportunity. You'll have to make your opportunity. And most guys that are roofers, that's how it happened. That's how it happened for them. They fought for that chance to get their hands on a nail gun. So there's to it. If you've been watching somebody shingle and they know halfway what they're doing, you've been working as their laborer, feeding them shingles, and you've been watching it for a couple months, you should have a pretty good idea of what to do, unless you work for somebody that has no clue what they're doing and they're just a hack. But that's where you can get knowledge from. Lots of these videos. I mean, it's TikTok. I mean, for the most part, I do everything by the book. Probably the only thing I don't do by the book is the way I nail my ridge caps on. But I have my reasons for that. And I've got a nail pattern for my ridge caps that I found never fails. And that's me. And I'll argue to the death with anybody about it, just like everybody will argue about their own way of doing things. So I know I've been rattling for a while, and this is a long-winded answer. It's probably more than you wanted to hear. But the truth is, this is a good career. If you take care of your body, you work smart, and don't worry about the speed. I stress to you, don't worry about the speed. Your income, if you're paid by the square, okay, which is any shingler worth their weight wants to be paid by the square. Don't worry about the speed. You're going to go through several months, 2, 3 square days, 4 square days, where you make less than minimum wage. That is the price you will pay. That is the price you will pay. And you'll have days that'll make up for it, and you will get faster. If you do the work right and you practice all the time doing it perfectly and you become efficient and you just learn to lay your stuff out right, those things, that speed will come, and it will come faster and faster and faster. Just like college students, they get debt relief and debt forgiveness. We don't get any forgiveness for the time that we spend learning.